thing that we do, we're still using that zero product property, which means that anytime I have the answer that's zero, one of the two terms has to be zero. I don't know which one, so I set them both equal to zero so I can get, when is it going to be zero? It'll either be zero when this number is zero or when this number is zero. You're going to use this a lot next year when you start graphing quadratics and other functions, because you have to find your zeros are where it crosses certain axes. So this one's already factored. So what do? We got to split it into 3x plus 4 equals 0 or x minus 9 equals 0. It's okay if you get an ugly fraction, like you're going to for the first equation, because one, you don't have to do anything with it after that, and two, if you do, you have calculators that allow you to deal with that. So we'll do the easy one first. We'll add 9. X is 9. The second one we'll subtract 4. 3x is 4. X, negative 4, is negative 4 over 3. So when we write it, x is negative 4 over 3 or 9. Once it's factored, this is like 6th grade math, 7th grade math. They're just simple equations. It's the factoring part, which is that last test that you're going to do well on to recoup that grade, because it's the poop, and get this higher. So when it's already factored like that, and it equals 0. If you look down further, none of these other equations that are factored equal 0. So I have to do some extra steps. But first, let's go to one that does equal 0. And I have to do something. So I need to factor that. So it's in standard form, x squared, x number. So this is a, b, and c. So we're going to use the AC method. It needs to multiply to be negative 18 and add to be positive 3. That's negative 3 and positive 6. So we rewrite this as negative 3x plus 6x. So I have x squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. Sorry, I missed some stuff. Plus 6x minus 18 equals 0. We're going to group this and divide by x, and we're going to divide this one by 6. X times x minus 3 plus 6 times x minus 3. I don't need the equal 0. So I have x plus 6, x minus 3 equals 0. Now that I have my two factors, x plus 6 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. So x is negative 6 or positive 3. All right. So the difference between 2 and 3 is that I have to get it equal to 0 first. This should feel repetitive. That means you're understanding it and you're like, oh, I just got to do this again. When it becomes quickly do it again, then you understand and you're passing and you'll get amazing grades. So this becomes x squared minus 9x plus 8 equals 0. I need to add to be 8 and add to be negative 9. So negative 1, negative 8 are my new factors. Minus x minus 8x. So I have x squared minus x minus 8x plus 8. Divide by x, divide by 8. x times x minus 1. What do I need to do here? I wrote it down incorrect. Why is this incorrect? No, this. This is what's incorrect. Why is the 8 incorrect? I want this, I don't want it to be negative x inside, so I need to take this out. So these two signs need to be the same. So I divide by negative x so that I get negative 8 times x minus 1. If I had left it the other way, it would be plus 1, and then these two terms wouldn't be the same. So then we get x minus 8 times x minus 1 is 0. X minus 8 equals 0. X minus 1 is 0. That means x is negative 8 or positive 1. Do I need to show you the steps? Like, why does it go from negative 8? Sorry, I did that wrong. It should be positive 8. See? That's why maybe I should do that. It goes to positive 1, 8. Doesn't even have those there. Because I need this to be 0, so 8 minus 8 is 0, and 1 minus 1 is 0. Or you can just solve and add 1 to both sides and get x is 1. All right, one more. This is just a review of last week. So, gonna subtract 5. So we get 3x squared minus 16x minus 12 equals 0. So what does it need to multiply to be? I've got 3x squared minus 16x minus 12. What's it need to multiply to equal?
3x minus negative 12.
So 3 and 12, so I need negative 36. And it needs to add to be negative 16. So one of each, and this is negative, so this one's negative, my big one's negative, and my small one's positive. So 1, 36, 2, 18, 3, 12, 4, 9, 6, 6. So 2 and 18 will give me 16 when I subtract. So this becomes negative 2x plus 18x. Sorry, those are backward signs. Plus 2x minus 18x. So I have 3x squared plus 2x minus 18x minus 12. Divide by x. Divide by negative 6. X times x plus 2. 3x plus 2. You can tell that it's Monday. 3x plus 2 minus 6 times 3x plus 2. X minus 6 times 3x plus 2 equals 0. X minus 6 is 0, just a second. And 3x plus 2 equals 0. Yes? Yeah. Okay. So, plus 6, x equals 6. Minus 2, 3x equals negative 2. Divide by 3, x is negative 2 over 3. As you practice math, hopefully you can see the answer without having to do the work. Like, that's our goal, is that you can see this and go, well, this becomes negative on this side, I'm going to divide. So it becomes negative 2 divided by 3. That's our goal, is that as you do these problems enough, you can start seeing the steps that you can skip. So our overall answer, x is negative 2 over 3, 6. So that's everything that we did up till now. So you're not going to stop doing that. There's just an additional step that we need to do. So remember, we talked about this when we were doing quadratics, the first couple of days of quadratics was to FOIL. That's what it's called when you do the distributing thing. So if you look at this first problem, the first term, it's the first term in each parenthesis. That's why we call it first. And then the outside terms, the ones on the outside, and the ones on the inside, and then the two last terms. That's just a weird name we came up with to make sure that I multiply this times both things and I multiply that by both things. So I draw these stupid little whoop-de-whoops, and that's what helps keep me, so I remember that I multiply everything. FOIL is another way that works for that, but that's all that we're talking about is how we do this. So you multiply the first term, so 8 times 2 is 16x squared. 8 times 5 is 40x. And then we do 4 times 2, which is 8x. And then we do 4 times 5, which is 20. And then we combine like terms, and then we're done. So now we're just going to FOIL. So I'm going to do a couple of just FOIL examples, but then because I can't subtract 33 from anything, those things are parentheses, and you can't subtract parentheses when he comes back, when Kendrick comes back. So you have to, I got to FOIL so I can get a constant, so then I can subtract 33, and then we go back and do the process again. So it's just additional steps. So we do the first two terms, that's 2x squared. Then we do the outside terms, that's plus 8x. The inside terms, plus 7x. And the last terms, plus 28. I can combine those so that I get 2x squared plus 15x plus 28. Shh. Samuel,
Can you go back real quick?
be responsible enough to change seats.
I'm doing my work though.
Besides, bad haircuts might be catching. Go ahead. Okay, let's do the other one then. First terms, x times x is x squared. X times positive 9, positive 9x. Negative 5 times x, negative 5x. Negative 5 times positive 9, negative 45. These can combine, so I get x squared plus 4x minus 45. Everything in math is really foundational, so it's just based on what you did in your last step, and then taking that and doing everything else on top of it. So when we look at this, I'm going to do everything that we did on those first 4 problems, and I'm going to FOIL. So to FOIL first, I get x squared minus 6x plus 2x minus 12. So that's x squared minus 4x minus 12 equals 33. Now I need to subtract the 33. So I get x squared minus 4x minus 46 equals 0. Before you get to equal 0, you have to get rid of the parentheses, which is what we just did. So we factored, FOILed out, and then we could subtract and get 33. Oh, it's 45, not 46. So now it needs to equal negative 45 and add to be negative 4. That means it's negative 9 and positive 5. Plus 5x minus 9x. Allie. X squared plus 5x minus 9x minus 45. Divide by x, divide by negative 9. X times x plus 5 minus 9 times x plus 5. X minus 9. X plus 5 equals 0. So then we get x minus 9 equals 0. X plus 5 equals 0. So x equals negative 5 and positive 9. So it's the same steps that we've been doing. Get your AC method, get your grouping method, solve the equation using the zero property. We just had to FOIL first. So it's just one additional step on top of what we did last week. Let's look at number 8. So, first step, FOIL. X times x, x squared. Minus 2x plus 7x minus 14 equals 22. X squared plus 5x minus 14 equals 22. Now we subtract the 22, and I get x squared plus 5x minus 36 equals 0. So first we had to FOIL, now we have to factor. So it needs to multiply to be negative 36 and add to be 5. So because this is positive, that means it's positive 9 and negative 4. So this becomes negative 4x plus 9x. X squared minus 4x plus 9x minus 36. We'll divide by x and 9. X times x minus 4 plus 9 times x minus 4. We get x plus 9, x minus 4, x plus 9 is 0, x minus 4 is 0, x equals negative 9, x equals positive 4. This is the most common way that you write your answers. This is not incorrect, but we usually just write it in one sentence instead of two. So this is the most common way, where you put them in descending or ascending order, remember, going up, and just one x. Okay, you have about 15 minutes, not quite. The practice is on the back of this worksheet. So please take your time to work on that.